Hello, Leo. Welcome to Eternal Mindfulness, and let me ask you something that might hit closer than expected. Is someone whose name begins with S quietly draining your energy, blocking your blessings, or messing with your money, while pretending to be your friend? If your heart skipped a beat just now, this isn't random. This is alignment. You didn't find this video, this message found you. There's a reason the universe brought you here, at this exact moment, in this exact chapter of your life. Something deeper is unfolding, Leo. And whether you've been feeling restless, misunderstood, or like your power has dimmed, this moment is the beginning of your return. You've carried so much, the weight of others' expectations, the pressure to always be the strong one, the silent endurance when you wanted to scream. But beneath all that, your light has never stopped burning. And now, that light is ready to ignite. I know, that something extraordinary is stirring inside you. Not just a shift in your outer world, but a reclamation of who you truly are. You're not just a sign. You're a force. And the energy surrounding May 14th and 15th is a portal calling you to step into full alignment with your destiny. But to do that, you must first know who, or what, is standing in your way. Throughout this reading, I'm going to help you decode the messages the universe has been whispering through signs, dreams, numbers, and emotional nudges. Together, we'll uncover the truth about that person with the letter S, the energetic attachments that may be sabotaging your finances, your peace, and your relationships, and more importantly, we'll explore how to cut those cords with power and grace. Now, I want to invite you to take a deep breath. Close your eyes for a second, and just feel what your soul is trying to tell you. Because when you tune in, you'll realize, this is not just a horoscope. This is a turning point. If you've been seeing repeating numbers like 111, 333, or 555, drop them in the comments. Those aren't coincidences. They're confirmations. They're proof that you're not alone and that your spirit team is closer than ever right now. And if you're ready to receive what's meant for you, just type yes in the chat. Declare it. Anchor it. Let me also take a sacred moment to say thank you. Your presence here, every like, every comment, every share, and every new subscriber, keeps this channel thriving and allows Eternal Mindfulness to continue offering messages that transform lives. You are the reason we're here. And your support means everything. So Leo, stay with me until the end. Because what the cosmos is revealing to you today is bigger than a prediction. It's a spiritual wake-up call. Let's begin. What we begin to see in this part of your journey, Leo, is not merely a moment of emotional reflection, it is a moment of inner reckoning. Just as we began this reading with the awareness that someone or something may be quietly draining your energy, we now go deeper, into the realm of your heart, the space where the most profound truths often whisper before they ever speak. Love, for someone like you, is not a passive experience. When you love with your entire being, with fire, with loyalty, with radiant generosity. But here lies the beautiful paradox. What you give so naturally is not always what others are capable of receiving. And that mismatch, over time, doesn't just hurt. It begins to shape your self-worth if left unexamined. In these days surrounding May 14th and 15th, the energetic patterns in your chart point toward a crossroads, a space where the heart is being invited to remember what it truly deserves. This is not about resentment or blame, it is about clarity. It's about seeing that sometimes we try to plant seeds in soil that was never meant to hold them. And even when those seeds don't bloom, the effort still speaks volumes about our hope, our willingness, and our depth. Someone from your past may resurface now, drawn to the light you've spent so long nurturing. And it's tempting, isn't it? The familiar words. The comfort of what once was. But remember, the presence of longing does not always mean there is alignment. When we look at the cards, Judgment, the Lovers, and Two of Cups, what they are truly offering is not a guaranteed reconciliation. What they are offering is a question: are you truly ready to receive what you say you desire? And more importantly, is the person you're thinking of truly capable of meeting you where you are now, not where you were then? These days are laced with powerful energy for emotional honesty, but also for discernment. If a connection is draining more than it's replenishing, it may not be an act of cruelty to walk away, it may be the highest form of compassion. To let something go, not in anger but in love, is not failure. It is freedom. And sometimes, what we call detachment is not indifference, but rather a wise refusal to participate in our own suffering. There's a subtle teaching present in the air right now, one that reminds us, everything that clings creates friction. The tighter we hold on, the more resistance we feel. But when we allow space, when we soften our grip, we make room for flow, for grace, and for relationships to evolve or dissolve naturally. And if something is meant to return, it will, but it must return with respect, with growth, and with mutual willingness to rise, together. You're not here to beg for breadcrumbs of affection, Leo. You are the whole table. Your love is a force of nature, and it deserves to be mirrored by someone who understands that depth is not frightening, it's sacred. This isn't just about romance, it's about emotional equilibrium. About knowing that you don't have to earn love by shrinking yourself. You don't have to over-explain your worth. Let yourself release what no longer responds to your light. Let yourself stay open, but not unguarded. There is strength in softness, and wisdom in knowing when to speak and when to simply allow life to answer for you. If today you are grieving, doubting, or letting go, may you do so with a gentleness that honors the very love you once offered. And if today you are hopeful, perhaps for something new, or for someone old to return with true intention, then may you receive that hope with both discernment and an open heart. Because either way, you are learning to love not just another person, but yourself, in ways you may have never done before. And that is the kind of love story the universe always rewards. There are moments in life when the most powerful shift begins not with grand decisions, but with subtle realizations, the quiet noticing of patterns we've long ignored. If you've sensed a disruption in your financial flow or career momentum lately, Leo, it may not be due to a lack of effort or ability. In fact, you've likely been working harder than ever, investing your energy with fierce determination. But when external results don't align with that inner drive, it's often a sign that something, or someone, is pulling from your reserves without permission. Energy, like currency, must be managed with care. Where attention goes, energy flows, and where energy flows, outcomes are shaped. This is why your environment, both physical and relational, plays such a vital role in your prosperity. What you allow close to your mind, your emotions, and your daily thoughts has the power to either reinforce your vision or slowly erode it. Right now, there's a strong indication that someone near you, whose name or influence begins with the letter S, is subtly undermining your stability. Not through obvious confrontation, but through a pattern of quiet sabotage, casting doubt on your ideas under the guise of concern, appearing supportive yet consistently sowing hesitation, or being the common denominator in moments where promising opportunities fall through. It's not about paranoia, it's about discernment. And part of protecting your financial and professional growth is learning to recognize when someone's presence creates confusion more than clarity. This is not a call for conflict. It's a call for conscious boundaries. When you begin to understand that your energy is your most valuable asset, you naturally become more selective about who gets access to it. This is not selfish, it's sacred. Just as you wouldn't leave your door unlocked at night, you mustn't leave your energetic field open to those who don't honor your vision. The cards reflected here, 5 of Swords and 7 of Pentacles, tell a quiet but pressing story, manipulation disguised as patience, interference masked as support. There's a lesson here in timing, in careful observation, and in the stillness that reveals more than noise ever could. You don't need to expose or accuse anyone. Simply pause. Observe. Pull your energy back from the places where it's not being respected. Real strength is the ability to act with quiet clarity, not loud reaction. From a deeper lens, this moment mirrors a core teaching, that suffering often arises not from what others do to us, but from what we fail to see in time. The lesson is not to become guarded or cynical, but to sharpen your awareness and respond with precision. When you reclaim your focus, even slightly, the direction of your path changes profoundly. This is a time to reorganize your energetic budget. Review your commitments. Who drains you and who replenishes you? Where are your thoughts going when you're not paying attention? Are you investing in worry or planting seeds of progress? Protecting your financial and career space isn't just about spreadsheets or goals. It's about the quiet discipline of protecting your inner economy, your belief in your ideas, your clarity of mind, your daily rituals. It's the act of choosing not to share sensitive dreams with those who haven't earned that trust. It's the pause before giving someone access to your emotional bandwidth. So take a moment, Leo. Reflect on who has been showing up in your field lately. What patterns do you see? What feelings arise after conversations with certain people? Write it down, not to judge, but to understand. And as you do, speak this truth aloud: I protect my energy. I honor my vision. I choose wisely who gets to walk beside me. Because when your energy is clear, your path becomes unstoppable. When we begin to clear space in the heart, as we did in the last part of this journey, it's only natural that the next ripple of clarity would surface in how we relate to our work, our purpose, and our sense of stability. The emotional landscape and the material world are never truly separate. What we tolerate in love, we often replicate in career. What we suppress in our feelings can mirror in our finances. That's why noticing subtle energetic imbalances isn't just personal, it's practical. Because when our inner foundation is steady, the outer structure tends to align. Right now, the energy surrounding you is offering a rare opportunity to see where your focus is being unintentionally scattered. And it may not be through major chaos or dramatic conflict. Often, it's the soft erosion, the constant second-guessing after a conversation, the sense of heaviness around a certain person, the unexplained fatigue that follows seemingly small interactions. These are not accidents. They are gentle alarms, inviting you to pay attention to where your energy goes and who is allowed to access your space. Astrologically, there's a sense of accumulation, a buildup of lessons around boundaries, personal power, and quiet responsibility. The sign of Leo thrives on dignity and vision, but even the strongest lions need protection from distractions cleverly disguised as loyalty. Sometimes, we confuse closeness with trust, and in doing so, allow others into areas of our lives they haven't earned. This can happen in business, collaborations, or even friendships that mix with financial decisions. And once this invisible access is granted, it can be hard to track the small but consistent ways in which progress begins to stall. That's why, during this moment, it's essential to step into a kind of inner stillness. Not to withdraw from the world, but to observe more closely. There's a teaching that suggests, the wise person guards their attention like a city under siege. It's not about fear, it's about honoring your focus as sacred. Because where you place your thoughts, your words, and your time, becomes where your future grows. You're being encouraged now to become more conscious of what you allow into your mental and emotional landscape. Is that idea really yours, or did someone else plant out there? Is that delay you're facing due to your own choices, or has it been entangled with someone else's indecision or subtle resistance? These are the reflections that lead not just to clarity, but to freedom. There may be someone in your space whose presence is misaligned, not necessarily malicious, but simply incompatible with your current growth. Perhaps someone whose words don't match their actions, or whose energy consistently leaves you feeling drained or defensive. Rather than reacting or confronting, the path forward lies in quiet discernment. Withdraw the energy you've been giving without return. Create gentle but firm boundaries, not from judgment, but from wisdom. It's also a powerful time to revisit your intentions. What are you building? Who truly supports that vision? Who distracts it, even if unintentionally? Sometimes the kindest thing we can do for ourselves, and for others, is to recognize when paths are no longer meant to run parallel. Not all closures require a grand conversation. Some simply require a conscious shift in energy. Protecting your peace doesn't require drama. It requires presence. And your ability to hold that presence with both firmness and grace will be what guides your decisions now. Anchor yourself in daily practices that restore clarity, a few deep breaths before responding, a review of where your time is going, a moment of silence before sharing plans with someone. These aren't rigid rules, they are acts of self-respect. And in that respect, a new level of confidence emerges, one that doesn't have to explain, prove, or justify. Just move from that place, Leo. Let that be the foundation from which you rise. After examining the energetic threads around career and finances, there comes a quieter, more tender shift into the space of relationships that feel closer to the root of who you are. Family ties, old friendships, and emotional bonds that have shaped you from the inside out often live in places that logic alone cannot reach. These are connections that, for better or worse, dwell in the heart's memory long after words have been spoken or moments have passed. And yet, despite their closeness, these are often the bonds we struggle to navigate most. You may have noticed it already. Someone you once felt safe with has become more distant. Not in a dramatic way, but in the kind of silence that carries weight. Perhaps they seem preoccupied. Maybe they've pulled away, or respond differently than they used to. And while the surface may suggest it's nothing, something deeper in you senses a shift. That's not a projection. It's the body's quiet awareness, the intuitive knowledge that connection is a living thing. It breathes, it changes, and it sometimes hurts when it tightens or drifts. The energy right now invites you to hold space for those shifts without turning them into stories. When you see someone pulling away, it's easy to assume blame or defend your own behavior. But not every distance is personal. Many people carry their pain inward, especially those who feel they must remain strong for others. In that silence, there is often an unspoken plea. Please see me, even if I can't say what I feel. And this is where your presence, your compassion, becomes a kind of medicine, not through fixing, but through witnessing. The Queen of Cups and the reversed Three of Swords bring a message of emotional maturity. They suggest healing not through confrontation, but through gentleness. Through choosing to respond rather than react. Through remembering that sometimes the greatest form of love is simply being available, without the need to solve or advise. A text. A check-in. A sincere, "I'm here if you need anything." These are small gestures, but their ripple effects can be profound. There is a quiet wisdom in offering your heart without agenda. It requires strength to show up without needing to be right. And when you give someone that space, you don't just offer healing, you create it within yourself as well. Compassion becomes a mirror. What you offer, you cultivate. And yet, offering compassion doesn't mean ignoring your own boundaries. You're not being called to carry others' emotions or to pour from an empty cup. You're being invited to embody equanimity, the stillness that sees suffering without absorbing it. There is a teaching that reminds us, when we truly see another person as they are, without clinging or resisting, we create the condition for both of us to be free. If there's someone in your life you've been holding judgment toward, maybe for how they hurt you, or how they disappeared when you needed them, it may be time to gently examine what you're still carrying. Not because they deserve your forgiveness, but because you deserve peace. Carrying resentment is like holding fire in your hand and waiting for someone else to feel the burn. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is not excusing. It is releasing the tether that keeps you emotionally entangled with a version of the past that no longer serves your growth. And sometimes, forgiving someone doesn't mean you reach out. Sometimes it means softening the space they once held in your heart and allowing that space to breathe again. As you move through this part of your journey, let kindness be your compass. Let clarity be your strength. And remember that even in families, especially in families, healing doesn't always arrive as a grand conversation. Sometimes, it begins with presence. With awareness. With the courage to love in a way that asks nothing in return. There are moments in life when what we've been waiting for doesn't arrive with fanfare, but rather appears in the stillness, quiet, unmistakable, and deeply personal. This is one of those moments, Leo. The energy around you now isn't just promising a breakthrough, it's inviting you to participate in it. But the door that's opening cannot be forced. It only reveals itself to those who have cultivated the awareness to recognize it. And that recognition, that awakening, always begins within. The work you've done lately, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, hasn't gone unnoticed. Even if there were no applause, even if no one else saw you rise again after disappointment or choose patience when urgency felt easier, every one of those acts became part of a larger shift in your vibration. You've been moving closer and closer to your alignment, and what's unfolding now is a reflection of that internal movement. The number 11 often appears when your intuition is becoming sharper, more attuned to the subtle signals of truth beneath surface noise. You may notice you're less interested in noise altogether, less pulled into drama, more drawn toward peace. This is a sign that your inner compass is waking up, and with that awakening comes clarity. The kind that doesn't just guide you, it frees you. The presence of 25 reminds us that transformation rarely arrives through comfort. Often, it comes through the dismantling of something familiar, something we thought we needed. Change isn't always chosen, but it can always be met with presence. And when you meet it fully, with your eyes open, you realize it was never here to destroy, it was here to reveal. 33 speaks of purpose. Not the kind that demands a title or stage, but the kind that is lived quietly through choices. Every time you choose compassion over reaction, courage over retreat, honesty over avoidance, you're walking your path. You don't need to know the whole map. You just need to trust the next step. And 44, the number of stability built on wisdom. You're learning to build not from fear of the past but from clarity of vision. This kind of groundedness doesn't resist change, it welcomes it, knowing that the deeper your roots, the higher you can reach. The star and the 6 of wands together confirm this. Recognition is coming, not necessarily in the way you expected, but in the way that will truly nourish you. The kind that says, I see you. Not just for what you've achieved, but for who you've become in the process. This isn't about fame, it's about fulfillment. About being deeply seen, not by the world, but by your own spirit. And here, a deeper principle comes into view. The awakening you seek is not something to chase. It is something to allow. Just as the lotus doesn't strain to bloom, it opens naturally when the conditions are right. Your job is not to force timing or outcomes. Your job is to keep clearing space, mentally, emotionally, physically, for the truth of who you are to emerge, unblocked. There is a kind of quiet revolution happening inside you, Leo. Not the kind that needs to be announced, but the kind that changes everything. You are not becoming something new. You are returning to something eternal. Something steady, wise, and unstoppable. So take a breath. Trust what's rising. And remind yourself gently, but firmly, I'm not waiting for a miracle, I am the miracle. If you're still here, reading these final words, then something in your soul has already said yes. Yes to change. Yes to truth. Yes to the version of yourself that no longer needs to chase validation or wait for someone to come and rescue you. Because deep down, you know what this message has been trying to tell you all along. You were never lost. You were simply being prepared. Leo, you don't need to wait for a miracle to arrive. You already carry it. In your resilience. In your courage to look within. In the way you keep showing up even when life doesn't hand you a clear reward. You are the miracle. And the moment you begin living from that truth, the entire landscape around you begins to shift. What if today was the day you stopped giving energy to people who doubt your worth? What if today you gave yourself permission to let go, not with bitterness, but with grace? What if the next chapter isn't about proving anything, but about remembering everything you already are? As you reflect on everything we've explored, your relationships, your finances, your inner clarity, your boundaries, can you see how they're all connected? Can you feel how every choice, no matter how small, is either strengthening your light or slowly dimming it? So I want to gently ask you, what is one decision you can make today that honors your energy more deeply? What is one small action, maybe just a shift in thought, that brings you closer to the life you know you were meant to live? Don't overthink it. The smallest yes can move mountains when it comes from the right place. You don't need to fix your entire life by tomorrow. You just need to be a little more honest with yourself today. A little more present. A little more willing to listen to that quiet inner knowing that has never once steered you wrong. And if you're willing, I invite you to anchor this energy by sharing something in the comments. Maybe a lion emoji, lion face if you're ready to rise. Maybe an angel number that keeps showing up for you. Or even just a single word that reflects what your soul is calling in right now. Your voice matters. Your light matters. And sometimes, speaking it into a shared space like this is the beginning of profound healing. Let me also take a heartfelt moment to say thank you. Truly. Every time you like a video, leave a comment, share a message, or subscribe to this channel, you become a part of the Eternal Mindfulness family. Your presence here allows messages like this to reach more people who need them. People who are just like you, on the edge of a breakthrough, waiting for one reminder, one sign, one spark. And maybe today, you were that spark. Maybe someone you send this to will read your comment, feel your courage, and find their way back to their light because of you. So thank you. For your time, your openness, your heart. For letting me be a small part of your unfolding. This journey is far from over, but now, you're walking with more awareness, more strength, and more trust. Wherever you go next, remember, you're not walking alone. You're walking as someone who finally sees their own worth, not as potential, but as truth. Until next time, stay bright, stay brave, and above all, stay you.